and so on target that if they kill me, they know it'll create a cult. And I think that's why I'm not dead. I think they learned that when they kill people, just because they don't like what they're saying, it backfires. But I think they had to kill Breitbart because he said, I'm bringing you down, Obama. I got you at the commie meetings where they were discussing re-education and arresting America and overthrowing the government. And people think I'm wild. I mean, he was in their face, man. They were scared of him. He took upwards of $8 billion a year away from Acorn Bob. It might not even have been Obama. Think of all those mob groups that lost that money.
You're absolutely right. And you're right about yourself, too, in relation to government and those who control government. And, but, you know, there's so many things going on out there. We talk about Iran and Syria and now Saudi Arabia and the stories about the finances of both the United States and England and Europe. And, you know, they keep on crashing down this path. And it brings you back to Brzezinski. They don't know what to do. They're absolutely, totally befuddled because of talk radio and the internet. And we've said this so many times, we're killing them.
Yeah, and Breitbart was really killing them. And so, because he was exposing all their mafia stuff, they just whacked him. I mean, that's it. He should have used the material without bragging about it. That's what got him killed. I'm sure they killed him. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Hello, I'm Alex Jones. One of the top stories on the web right now, Breitbart. Wait till they see what happens March 1st. Well, yeah, they killed you. And now it'll be 2 weeks, your people say, until it gets released. That's all at Infowars.com. Bob Chapman's our guest. Let's take a few phone calls. Mike in Oregon, and then we'll go to Sam in the UK. Mike, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hey, Alex. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Thank you for taking my call. So many things to talk about, but first, you know, what would Jesse say, your best friend? 5 words, no such thing as a coincidence, and I believe, you know, that to be very true in this case about Breitbart. You know, this whole world's a stage, and you know, we're pointing out all these problems at the top, but I think the real solution to these problems is, you know, within our individual communities. You know, the people are awakening, and you know, we're dealing with an incredible system that has order and a lot of time ahead of us, so we should use their order and their already existing rules.
Now, I hear you. Let me get Bob's take on that. Bob, I see it like this. It's just like the idea of too big to fail. The banks set up the fraud. They get control of the government. They hold us hostage, threatening to take down the system even as they do it. Well, it's like the crime. Obama is openly engaging in more just flat-out big city mafia, bid rigging and handing his buddies contracts, and nothing's even built with the money. I mean, it's just all out in the open now. What comes next? And it's too big to fail. There's such criminality now across the system that no one can rat out anybody else, and so nobody can say no. And it's like a bunch of weevils eating all the grain, and Breitbart was trying to expose us, and they just killed him. I mean, what do you do when the corruption becomes too big to fail?
I think you do what the gentleman said, work from the bottom up. That's what Joe Arpaio is doing. And, yes, it's a national issue, but that is from the bottom up. And so let's get more of law enforcement to do such kinds of things, and people have a lot more respect for them, and they'll be a lot happier with them. And
exactly.
But, you know,
people are going to start liking the police again when they start actually going after the bad guys, not working for them.
That's right. And you can include the CFTC and the SEC in there, now known as FINRA.
Total crooks.
You know, 6 years after they packaged the mortgages into bonds, the rating companies and their conspirators with them, the major firms on Wall Street, everybody buys these things, 60% of them in Europe. And what happens? They're not AAA. They're triple B. It's the difference between a 10 and a 4, 10 being best. Now, the SEC made it quite clear in their investigation of Goldman Sachs, this is only a civil investigation. So all that can happen to you he should get fined, I don't know, maybe $1 billion.
That's because it's all their
Nobody
guys.
goes to jail, and the firm pays the fine.
It's like the commodities trading investigator was part of the Corzine scam. I mean, it's just the mafia runs the country. Let's talk to Sam in the UK. You're on the air with Bob Chapman. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Alex. I mean, why don't he just release the video, man? I mean, what's all these playing games? I mean, you know, why is he announcing that he's going to announce it? Why don't you just release it?
Well, you notice he got blamed for hacking Weiner's account. It turned out that wasn't true. Weiner was lying. And he's hyped things a lot before. He'd done this over and over again. He got confident and thought he was bulletproof. And he was going to release it yesterday morning and got killed. I agree. If I ever got something like that, it'd be out in hours. I don't announce a lot of stuff when it's breaking news. I just release it because that's when it's dangerous. Bob, do you think hubris got to him, or do you think he had a death wish? Or because, see, I don't think I'm bulletproof. I'm just committed. What do you think was going on there? Why didn't he just release it?
Well, I think he wanted some notoriety, a little sensationalism, and he wanted to be more noticed as someone who was important in covering things like that. I think there was a number of reasons, but I would have done it the way that you just described it. Here we have it. There it is. It's out in the public 2 days later, and, yeah, we're going to bury it after the fact.
Because then they're not going to kill you. That's what I've learned. If you have something they know could really hurt them, and you hold on to it, the hitmen are coming. I mean, it's just, you're dead. If you mess with elitist families, you're dead. I mean, even Barbara Bush said that on Larry King. He said, what do you think of people messing with your family, like your granddaughters? He said, I will kill you. I will have you killed. And he went, what do you mean? She goes, you heard me, I'll have you killed. I mean, that's just how they are. And so you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. Charge straight in, cover the info, but there's certain little rules. Don't hold on to bombshell info, and don't mess with people's families. It's the same thing with my family. You mess with my family, it's going to look like the movie Terminator. Thank you, Bob.
We're on the mark.
Notes here. Before we go to Dr. Jerome Corsi joining us, I really want to get his take on Breitbart's death. Also, Arpaio, the sheriff, confirming WorldNet Daily and Dr. Corsi's research, and, of course, our research. The first day it came out, we did the analysis here because we've got Photoshop experts and people with media degrees from major universities here, and it was ridiculously fake, and we blew up the different typeset. They didn't even use the same type, and we confirmed that it was identical letters, which a typewriter doesn't do. When it slaps down, the ink always, it's like a fingerprint or a snowflake. It's slightly different. And it was a Photoshop deal. And remember, this is a group that shipped guns into Mexico to blame the Second Amendment. I mean, they're criminals. Before we go back to our next guest and then your calls, a couple program notes. I'm going to do the nightly news tonight. I've been out of town, as you know, for a week and a half. We did a beta test of a road tour. We just went to Dallas and Orlando. Big success. And I do plan some more in the future. Just the question is, will I have time to go on the road before everything goes to hell in a handbasket? But we're going to premiere my Dallas speech tonight after the news. I'll do the news. I'm going to interview Wayne Madsen, who was told by a government source and a federal informant separately that they had shot Judge Roll and the Congresswoman because they were meeting discussing Fast and Furious. And I separately later confirmed that with another source. He was told, get out of the country or they're going to kill him. And he's been going to Chicago investigating all the mafia connections and the connections to communists. And he's been threatened. And believe me, the Chicago mob will kill you. And that's a big part of who runs Obama. And these are just murderous people that are out of control. We got to start saying no sometime, though. They can't get us all. And so we're going to premiere my speech tonight after the news. That's all coming up at prisonplanet.tv. And we're running 15-day free trials. Your 15 cents a day when you do get a monthly membership finances much of what we do. And then, of course, just like the new film, New World Order, Blueprint of Mad Men, I premiered it at these events. I premiered it a few days ago at prisonplanet.tv. And then yesterday we put it up on the YouTube channel for everybody. You see it first, but you're really funding this alternative media organization that is really hurting the globalist. And we're risking our lives doing this. Make no mistake. So, again, if you're not a Prisonplanet.tv member, now is the time. Now, speaking of being in danger, the guy we've got on the line doesn't really talk about this, but he had a highest level security clearance with the State Department, counterterrorism, obviously in intelligence work, and but he won't talk about it. Dr. Jerome Corsi also, of course, Harvard educated in finance and worked at the highest levels of that, so he can speak to what's happening with the banks right now as well. And you can say what you want about him. He is an American firster. He doesn't like the New World Order. He does, you know, he talks about Agenda 21. He talks about the North American Union. He's been very effective. And the White House, 1 week before his book came out, announced his book had been recalled through Esquire, which wasn't true, and had Obama come out and release the fake birth certificate. So they're concerned about this type stuff. And so this birth certificate thing and Arpaio ties in as well to Breitbart, because Breitbart has the footage and said he was going to release it. This is hiding in plain view. We just dug it up and posted it, so it's one of the top stories on the web today. It's the top political story, number 6 on the web, the top story on Drudge Report, that he said, I'm going to release the film of Obama at communist meetings where they're discussing re-education, overthrow of the U.S. government, everything. I'm going to release it March 1st. Turns out he said this in 3 separate interviews and a speech. Not just a speech you've all seen where he said, I'm going to release footage, we're going to vet him, he's not going to get away with it this time. So he was going to swift boat Obama, who's already politically garbage. You know, he's not the chosen one anymore. You got all these memos coming out by the operatives, even in the Financial Times of London, saying an Oklahoma City blamed on the right wing would really help. Robert Shapiro and others. We're at a key juncture here, okay? And they fired Napolitano. They fired Buchanan the same week. I've talked to folks at the highest levels of talk radio. They say they're being threatened not to mess with Obama. Rupert Murdoch is being blackmailed. I'm really giving Jerome a briefing here. I'm sure he knows most of this, but I want to get his take on it. The Rupert Murdoch, I told you they would flee England. They're selling their stuff, talking about selling their new papers, selling their houses. His son has fled. They're in the news today saying he may be indicted here. Obama is using spying and paying off police. That's standard at that level of media, you know, to get news stories. I'm not saying it's good, but that's like a crooked toenail compared to launching wars without congressional approval, shipping guns into Mexico to blame the Second Amendment, all the rest of the serious crimes. You know, $500 million to an energy company that doesn't exist. All of this is coming out, and the president's got the power of the executive right now, so he can use this. And he's got the NDAA, the power to kill American citizens. And the hit teams can be told, you're sanctioned now. And they got systems to stop your heart, chemicals, sound wave systems that cause your heart to go into cardiac arrest. That's declassified. So Breitbart says, I'm going to release this footage. All of this is coming out, and he dies hours before it does when he says he's going to bring down Obama. And so I happen to know, that's why you're suddenly seeing News Corps. People like Huckabee say Obama's a good Christian, a loving, good man. I've talked to national talk show hosts. Off record, obviously can't tell you the sources, but I was told this months ago. And now I've been confirmed from a separate source. Michael Savage fears for his life, says he's getting death threats. This is internal. And he has bodyguards, and he's now admitted this yesterday, so I can talk about it. He has bodyguards and told Breitbart get some. And is broadcasting from different locations saying they're out to get him. Okay, and he's not a paranoid guy. Love him or hate him, he's a really smart guy. This is real, okay? This is real. This is a putsch going on, an attempted takeover. Now, I've said that. I don't know Dr. Jerome Corsi's take on all this. I've given him a 5-6 minute take on what I see going on. And there's a purge going on. People that are left at News Corps are being told, back off. Obama is holding them hostage with threats of indictments for News Corps' activities. Arpaio announces he's going to investigate Obama. He gets SWAT teamed, you know, raided, investigated for civil rights stuff. It's on. It's on. And I don't know what we should do about this because I'm not even aligned with Limbaugh and all these people. But I'm telling you, they're being targeted as well. And I talk to people highest level that know Breitbart very well. And they believe he was killed. Off record. Not just Savage and WorldNet Daily saying they think it happened. I've talked to people that know him very well. I'll just leave it at that. And they have said, yeah, he made some people mad. And the word is, this is a message to everybody. Now, I've said it. That's the intro. Dr. Corsi, what's your take on what I just said?
Well, first of all, I've been listening to it intently, and I